Okay, so this might sound a bit numpty, but I'm going to go through the setup of my boat, of basically what I've got everything on, what I need on it for every eventuality. So the first thing is we have a toolbox. Now the toolbox, again, it might sound a bit numpty, but the idea of a toolbox is to make quick repairs to allow you to get back in. So if anything goes wrong, then you've got the means to a degree to fix it. Now you can't have everything on board because obviously it'll go rusty, but what I have got is an old American engine which basically is not metric. So all my spanners for the engine are basically non-metric, so AF for my engine. Now obviously there are some metric bolts on, nuts and bolts on the boat as well. So what I did was just take a bit of a snapshot of every size that I would need and make sure that that's on the boat. So what I did, got some old sockets. I'm saying old sockets, we bought them. I'm going to take one of these off because I've got two. I was missing one, so they're my metric sockets. Anything on the boat, bearing in mind, right, that you have is going to rust the minute it gets any salt near it, so just bear that in mind, so don't bring your best stuff on. Got again the engine. Again, every one of these sockets will fit something on the engine that I'll need to access. Star spanners, again, not the best ones, but ones that you need, or Phillips as we call them in the UK, and a couple of flatheads. 2 or 3 flatheads, one for electrical, yeah, one for the engine. Top of that, long nose, standard, and cutters. Cutter adjustables, small hammer. So for me, those will fit everything, every nut and bolt I've got on this boat that I would need to get to do a fix, just to get me alongside. Okay. Cable ties, you can't be without these. I'll get some more in there. These are just really additions, sort of spares. In fact, they shouldn't really be in there actually. Got my timing light because I've been using that to set up the timing, and always have in your toolbox a little spare light. And again, I've got loads of these, but let's have one in the boat anyway, in the toolbox as well rather. Okay, toolbox. Done. Next bit, spares. Just a few, and again, you can have as many spares on board as you need, but again, it's only just to get you alongside, remember. So it's a case of what can you do without. Here, surf clips and some shackles. You can't do too many of them. Set of jump leads, spare bilge pump, and mainly loads of rope. On the subject of rope, let's say you're going to tow somebody. Somebody's in need of a tow. Ideally, you need probably a good 4, 5, 6 times the length of your boat, distance between you and the boat that you're towing, and this is more than enough, which I've got on there, some new rope, and I've got some spares as well, just for mooring up. But I've also got my anchor rope as well, so should I need any longer, then obviously I can use that. So rope is a standard, but again, needs to be in a situation where you can get to it, you can unravel it, you can use it quickly without having to undo shitloads of knots. Alderney ring for my anchor. This anchor here, is for rough ground. Chuck it over, easy to get up. But more importantly is obviously if you lose it, it's not very expensive. Then I've got my 5 kilogram plough anchor, and again, that's all set up. This is my anchor rope to start off with. So I put an eye on the end of that, and there's 180 foot on there, which I've marked on there just to make me keep me just to keep me updated so I don't forget. In times of need, you do forget sometimes. So basically, I'll take this anchor off and swap it with this one, and the first rope I send out is 180. With this rope here, obviously much thicker, depending on the conditions, I would use that instead of that, but that one is marked, and I've got basically, there you go, look, as you can see there, I've got it marked on 80 foot. It is marked all the way down, and that's got different, however many feet are out by every 100 foot. So again, I can know I've got 180 on that, and if I add that to that, then I know how much I've got on. So, always acts as a spare anchor, always have a spare. Main, spare, rocky ground. Coming inside the boat now, a couple of other spares that I've got. Okay, chair, gloves, oil, most important, kettle, tea bags, and cooker. Some people might like to have this. They might like to have these, but I've got basically an anchor, so if I drop anything, a magnet, if I drop anything I can basically have a try to retrieve it. Next most important thing, coastal flares. Or I've packaged these up with a bit of packaging so they don't bounce about, and obviously they're all in date. Most important. Now, on my boat, I've made sure that these are going to be in an area where I can get to them quickly. Important, because obviously no point jumping off your boat if you haven't got your flares with you. Well, that's if you jump off, or if you're in distress, you need to get them very, very quickly. This is just something the daughter bought me for Christmas, but you know, it's a little light compass, just in case I wanted to go some navigating. But hey, you know, stuck into that. Just it may or may not come in handy. Next thing is a spare set of clothing. So in here, I've got tops, bottoms, waterproofs. I've taken some out because I went boat fishing the other day. But in here would be a set of waterproofs and a spare change of clothes, warm socks, all that kind of stuff, because if the unfortunate event happened where you fell in, you need to be able to get changed very quickly and get warm. And that also acts as a cool box for when I catch shitloads of fish. Okay, so here's the wiring. Sound of life. So I've got solar charger that then comes into the battery, charges the battery, and what I've done here, I've marked every single one very, very clearly with big labels. There's a reason why I've done that. One, because I like to know where everything is, and two is because you forget really quickly, and sometimes you can't see this, you can wear your glasses or something. But yeah, all your fuse box, all nicely labelled, know exactly where they are. That's charging, and don't forget to have a spare phone charger for your phone. Always have that, very important. Okay, coming to the boat. Outside the boat, you've got obviously your plotter, you've got your VHF. Don't underestimate the power of the VHF, because if you're going to see 100% need one. You've got to do a radio course, pretty cheap though, well worth the money. Used to be a radio communicator in the Navy, so it was nice and simple for me, but it is actually nice and simple, full stop. It's not hard, and even if you don't stick to protocols, you can get by very, very easily. With that, what I have got when we go out to sea with a party, So what I've done, I've set up basically somebody who's not used to boats, not used to radios, and let's say for example you go out fishing and you can become incapacitated. So what I've done is I've laminated a copy of basically the Mayday call for this particular boat. I got my MMSI, obviously the how to read it. So basically the position, the person, all they have to do is read off this. Okay, and I would then say obviously whether it's a Mayday, urgency or security. So you don't have to tell them, you don't have to give them a lesson, but basically just got something to read off. What I've got also is a reminder of all the channels we use and what we use for. And that's all a copy of there, by the way. And that's all laminated, and that's all in the boat. Now, you might think I'm being a bit overcautious here, but you know, you can't underestimate the power of planning. You don't fuck about when you're on the sea. What have I got on here? So I've always got the places to charge where I need to. Got a spare 2 types USB and cigarette lighter, and obviously these are all the ones that all the tests that you did before you go. So masthead, you know, anchor light, you've got navigation lights, and you check they're working. So basically we're good to go basically to sea as far as radio, lights, spares, tools, ropes. Finally, going to the back of the boat, and actually there's 2 things. I need to look at the boat setup, but always have a ladder, always have a ladder. Basically, you know, obviously if somebody went overboard, you need them very easy to get back on board quickly. Ladder important, and some people want a spare engine. This can be kept inside. It doesn't have to be on the back, and to be honest I'd take that off. I've only just put that on there just because I took it up the river for a quick test drive. I'll be taking it off in a minute. And you've got to make sure that your boat and your engine and nodes are all intact, and as much as you possibly can keep it out of the seawater. When you raise your engine, by the way, it's always good to put the manual lock down. Job done. Batteries, 2 ledge batteries, and today I only needed 1 fuel tank, but I've got a spare. Always again have a spare, very important. And that's the back of the boat. A couple of things I've got a little push rod. I need to grab all the things, and I've got my gaff. And I think that's the lot. So let's get all packed away and get on home.